So by now you guys have listened to my read aloud, and now I'm going to be showing you guys how we sequence events in nonfiction texts. So just to review with sequence, or the other word we use for it is chronological order, what I'm looking for is my signal words. And when I see those signal words like first, second, third, you guys are pros at these, you guys use them in your writing a lot, my beginning, middle, and end words. I want to ask myself, is this an event that's taking place over time? And I'm looking for steps or things like dates that are going to tell me that this is a text that is sequencing or chronological order as its structure. So for our text for today, this is exactly what your Google Doc looks like. I'm going to show you how to fill it out using the reading that we did, and then you guys will do a separate reading about sequencing. So if I'm looking back at my text, I know the question that I'm asking myself is this an event that's taking place over time? And I know that yes, this chapter talks about a process, and it talks about something that takes place over time. It talks about how my grain is harvested and how it's being turned into flour. So there are certain steps that need to be taken. So I know as a reader that it's chronological order or sequencing. Either one of those, we know that they mean the same thing. So I want to go back in my text, and when I'm doing sequencing my boxes, a lot of times our graphic organizer looks like this on the left with boxes, and they have little arrows. I don't have the arrows in there yet. But we know that they take place over time. I know that I summarize in these. I'm not putting in every little detail about what is happening. I'm just giving a quick summary. So if I'm going back to my reading for this chapter, I'm going to look through and I'm going to look for my keywords. I see a next here. And for my first one, when I go back and read, that's what you're going to be doing. I'm going to say, okay, I know that, and this is how your Google Doc will work too. Sorry. First, the grain is brought to the flour mill. I know it has to get there first before it's turned into flour. I'm going to keep reading. It is one of the three. Oh, now I have something different here. Wheat is cleaned in several ways. And then it goes on to describe how it's cleaned. So I know I'm going to choose another transition word. Next, the wheat is cleaned by winnowing. And the chaff is separated. I summarize this whole section with just one sentence. That's what I'm looking at doing. I'm going to look for my next step now. So brought to the flour mill, it's cleaned. And I say, okay, it's separated. It's going into more details here. They have different amount of protein. Oh, I see a keyword. It says next. So I'm going to say, after that, the mill mixes wheat to make different kinds of flour. I'm not going to go into details about what kind of different ones they make. I just know that they're going to separate them into different types of flour. Oh, I see more machines are used to clean grain, so I have another new step here. It is cleaned again and ground into flour. So again, I combined a few steps here. I said to myself, I don't really need another whole event here. I can combine them. And it goes into, I have my clean wheat, so that means that step is over. So I'm looking out for my last step. Just smooth powder. This is going into a lot of different details, and I know that it probably don't need that section. And I'm going to conclude. It's clean, so I'm going to say last. It is stored and will eventually be sent to a bakery. And that is how I'm sequencing my events.